So, continuing with my next guest, the theme is still internationalization, and our job is to make sure that the learning continues and provide some insights and maybe some fun moments, who knows. So please welcome my next guest. It's Mikko Pekka Hanski from IDEAN or IDEAN?
Both ways goes.
Both ways goes.
Yeah.
So, welcome.
Thank you, thank you.
Have you been able to take in the talk so far?
Yeah.
You have?
Yeah.
Okay, then I might. Well, I don't have to, but I want to ask you.
Yeah.
What has been most interesting or inspiring for you so far?
Yeah, I personally love the Scott Galloway's pace. It's like getting the New York into to Helsinki. You know, the frequency was great, and you know the provocative statement that he gave is good. Then you can take a stance on what you think about it. Peter, of course, with giving a great idea about what's going on, and this I would say that was really from the content-wise, like really very close to my heart actually. So all really good presentations.
So we have not met before, but we have mutual acquaintances, and I have been told, I've been led to believe by them that you love to ponder about where the world is going.
Yeah.
And I've been warned that you might go off into space. So that's okay.
I might be already.
We can go in all kinds of directions. Let's see where it takes us. I have some questions pre-prepared, what we do, whatever, and let's see if we can try to get as much as possible out of and sort of stick to the internationalization. And now, IDEAN was formed in 1999.
Yes.
You are co-founder, and was it customer experience strategist was the title that you used as well. Now, I have heard some stories or rumors or a mix of about your internationalization so far. Could you please give us some sort of a nutshell version of how it came to be that you have your offices in the US and Germany? And
Yeah, it's a long story. First we went to East, you know, and after clients, of course, and then we thought that maybe East is not Asia, is not ready for us at this point. And then like 5 years ago, me and my friend Risto Lähdesmäki, who is in Palo Alto, we were walking in the streets of Espoo and thought, what are we going to do about our business? And then Risto, he's like a Han Solo kind of person. He thought that, hey, let's go to sell the sand to Sahara. Let's go to Silicon Valley and sell the design over there. So immediately in that point, we bought plane tickets to Risto. And for 1 year, he traveled back and forth. And we will try to get as much business as possible. When Risto made it, then we started, you know, scaling up the business especially in the Silicon Valley, but now in New York and Austin, Texas as well.
What, to the extent that you can isolate a thing or two, what was the original reason in general to go international, be it East or West?
Yeah.
Why?
Our clients, in a way, they don't care of us being international, in a way. So they just want to get the value from us, from our services. For us, it was get a testimonial for ourselves that you can be like a big fish in a small pond, but really to understand how big fish you actually are, you have to go there to the coral reefs. And in the design field, the Silicon Valley, where Apple and Google, Facebook, the big guys are, that's the place to really like test yourself that how good you actually are. It's going to like Olympics. And now we're there. We're in the finals.
Good for you.
Not yet
and
medal.
For us.
Yeah.
We need examples like that, I believe. And when I say we, in this case, I guess I'm putting on a Finnish hat for a while. But it's good to have success stories.
Yeah.
Because actually I heard this about your fondness of thinking about maybe some strange things even. I have a question for you. Do you know what this is?
The light thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sort of like I don't know how the light comes over there. And
I don't know either, and this really is not so relevant, but I think some colleagues and myself, we thought that probably this is some alien plot to suck the life force out of us, and we are just you know, smiling and laughing.
And as with Peter Diamandis thing, I think this alien plot, it may be that aliens has made the AI actually.
Yes.
Who knows?
We don't know.
Yeah.
You are, I'm sure, familiar with Scott Adams, and I'm presuming many are, the creator of Dilbert.
Yeah.
And a proven genius, if you look at the traditional way of evaluating this. Now, he has written in a book that goals are for losers, that systems are for winners.
Yeah.
Maybe, and who am I to judge based on who's talking? However, companies still typically have goals. They have set goals. What kind of goals do you have for the, maybe in general, but also from an internationalization perspective?
Yeah, in general, our goal is to really make our life easier and nicer to live. You know, we are facing more and more technologies, more and more services all the time. So actually, the life is actually becoming more and more complex, and I don't like that. We have to, you know, our job is to really reduce the complexity, decrease stress from people, and increase joy of like using new technologies and new services. That's our big goal. It will not end, you know, that job. For our internationalization point of view, is that although, you know, the great things are done, let's say in some place in Shenzhen, maybe in Delhi or in Bangalore, we want to be there as a company where the great things are happening. Right now it's in Silicon Valley in many ways, but there are many locations in the world that somebody is inventing something cool, so we want to be there nearby that.
So there is perhaps not so much a clear roadmap as to exactly where we go next, but you follow the coolness, so to speak.
Yeah. The instinct, in a way, that the guts, basically. And for us, the internationalization is not about, you know, countries at all. It's about ideas and, you know, the vibe, actually. And it can happen, our internationalization may even think that it might happen in some online community. That may be our business or something like that. So it's not a location kind of thing at all actually.
Perhaps not directly internationalization, but you did see the 3D examples, and I'm sure you're familiar with me. How has that impacted your design work?
Yeah, we have like tens of projects where we have to design a user interface that is not like pointing fingers or using mouses. It's a gesture control. It's like even like using your mind to control a user interface. So for us, it's just plenty of to design. And like with the virtual reality right now, how we interact with the virtual reality content is a totally different way of like using a mobile phone. So somebody has to design that. So it's great. The work is not ending actually.
Yeah. I love the way you answer the question about goals in terms of I guess that belies your title, the customer experience. You were not talking about your own turnover or things like that. That, of course, I'm guessing is a welcome consequence of reducing complexity.
Yeah, money is a consequence of great things.
By the way, in terms of the Nordic Business Forum 2016, is there some talk coming that you are looking forward to in particular for some reason?
I have no idea what Ed Catmull gonna speak about, but as being a father of 3 boys, and I've been like growing my kids with the Pixar movies. And in some sense, the way Pixar is organized as a company is some like an idol for us as well. We really look up on that kind of thing, and I'm really looking for Ed Catmull's speaking talk about creativity and like facing human beings that has to do really imaginative things like Finding Nemo or something like that. I'm really looking forward to that.
I imagine that many people who are joining us via live stream are looking and hoping for some more or less advice on things to do and things not to do when working in an international environment. Could you help us out? Is there something that you have done that you quite clearly can see now was a mistake, or something that you have done, on the other hand, that you could highly recommend? Of course, nobody knows exactly what will work. Could you help us out?
I think the core thing for us, it has been the gaining self-confidence. If you're like a low self-esteem on going international, you end up discussing with wrong people. You get the wrong advice from wrong people. And if you're like great self-confidence, we can do it. There's a lot of strengths inside us that can actually do the whole thing. Then you actually meet people that empowers you and give good advice. For us, the biggest mistakes has been going with the wrong people. You know, not trusting ourselves, our guts, and listening, false prophets. Let's say it this way.
That's really, really interesting. When you have wound up in these situations where you, in retrospect, could say that you talked to the wrong people, is there any way that you could give us some idea on how to spot the wrong people, so to say, in advance?
I think it's comes to social connections. I think that you can value people based on who are their friends and how this person behaves within the community. So I think that if you face an advisor in internationalization who doesn't know anybody and nobody knows this person, maybe that's a good start. But then, of course, how people speak about that person, I think it says a lot.
So reputation is
something that somehow has to identify.
What are you, in terms of IDEAN's future, what are you most excited about?
Excited about?
Yes.
It's like now we have a new batch of trainees, like young people, young designers came to the Helsinki studio, like 5 people. I'm so amazed how talented these people are, how inspiring they are. I'm like really excited to hear and see what these people, young designers, they can actually come up with their imagination and skills. I'm a little bit always like scared how good they are in that sense, and I think that's excites me the most is the people that I have a pleasure to work with, because it's unlimitless the imagination that these people are having.
Speaking of having a pleasure to work with, you are now the 4th person I've had the pleasure to talk to here, and this seems now to be the first recurring theme that I find. It comes back to people.
Yeah.
Which now that I feel that this is actually something that's happening, it's not surprising, but still, it's very nice to hear.
Dear attendees of Nordic
So,
Cool.
the program
I have a strange question for you. Well, it's not that strange. It's typically Finnish, maybe.
Yeah.
Without resorting too much to stereotypes about different nationalities, there are, of course, as you mentioned earlier, differences in cultures, actually. Do you find that in terms of working internationally, that to some respect, of course, we are all products of our culture.
Yeah.
Do you see that the Finnish typical culture brings you some advantage or maybe disadvantage when going?
Yeah, I would say that more like a Scandinavian thinking, which is very much closer to the common sense. It's really good strengths. In order to survive in North, in the Scandinavia, you need to have a lot of common sense. So I think that using that as a strength and combine that with the courage and creativity with some other cultures, I think there's great combination over there.
You said that your customers perhaps don't care so much whether you're international or not. What about you? What about you and your fellow colleagues? What does being international mean, in addition to, of course, the obvious growing your business? What other values do you see?
It's great, like a learning curve. You know, when you go project where there's a lot of international people working over there from many cultures, it actually increases the learning curve by algorithm kind of growth on learning. And that's a great value that people are getting at IDEAN, that they really learn very quickly and a lot when working in these global projects that we are having.
Anything else? Learning, of course, is hugely important over the long term.
Yeah.
Is there something else still that you could point to that you think brings intrinsic value from being international, from working?
Yeah, well, I don't know what is more important than learning, like self-fulfillment.
Good point, valid point.
Kind of thing. But at the same point, is of course that for a services company that like us, it's like good business as well, in a way that maybe in some places the investments to designs are bigger than in some places.
Is there something concerning your international aspect, or actually, to me, now that I'm actually asking the question, it sounds that maybe, do you see your business as having an international side and something else, or it's just our business?
Yeah, I think it's just like business for us. Our processes are like what they are, not depending on actually the location. Of course, there's local regulations and that kind of thing, but I think it's just a minor thing. But I think for us as well, just mindset is global in a way. there's no domestic or international business. It's just good business.
I might actually ask you the same kind of semi-strange question that I asked Frida Boysen earlier. During a project that I was fortunate enough to work on with the Ministry of Defense some years ago, during the background work, I realized while looking through some studies that young people in Finland now, and when I say young now I mean 30 and under, they have a different take on nationality and patriotism and stuff like that. And that just made me think that this internationalization, internations, between nations, is it possible, do you see us going in a direction where that word becomes strange in itself, sort of obsolete?
I think for the many of, like for my kids, like above like 10-ish, with their like they're following YouTubers from different cultures. There's no, I think it's actually losing, you know, this internations. It's just like and with the what Peter Diamandis and people are saying that this global connection being so easy, I think it's like with the sun energy. There's a lot of that.
True.
Yeah.
We're running out of time pretty soon, and we'll go back to the stage downstairs, but is there something you would have liked me to ask you that I did not?
Well, I'm a big fan of sales things. I think that's a great thing, but maybe the idea of how do you actually do sales in a situation where actually people are coming from different cultures, the paradigms of trust are different. How do you build trust? Is you don't know it, how people trust in China inherently. So maybe the approach about sales is something that might be an interesting discussion.
And when people are, to some extent, are more or less the same everywhere. Of course, you have cultural differences, but our basic desires and fears are almost the same. And I like this concerning trust, and which of course is, like you said, the basis for selling or any healthy relationship.
Yeah.
I love this idea that you might hear somebody say that it's not that I don't trust him, I just don't know him. So there's a very strong connection between feeling that you know somebody and you trust them.
Yeah.
But now we're running out of time.
Yeah.
So thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Have a great rest of the day and tomorrow.
I will.
And take care of yourself, your 10-ish kids, and your business.
I will.
Thank you, Mikko Pekka.
Thank you, Mark.
Well.
Thank you. Pleasure.
And to all of you via live stream, this was our last interview from the Mercedes-Benz stage today. The program continues with Gary Vaynerchuk on why smart people dismiss social media and why they should not. So enjoy the rest of the day, and hopefully I will see and feel many of you tomorrow as we continue the interviews from the Mercedes-Benz stage. Bye for now.